You're listening to the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. Now here's your hosts, Kevin, Derek, and Alex.
Alrighty, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another Sunday morning pregame episode. I am Derek with the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast, and we've got Detroit Beastie. Chris, how you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me. Before we went live here, I pulled the curtain back. My cat Beastie kept barging in. Right, I got this office downstairs in my basement here. It's nice. The sound quality is fantastic. But if you look, let me move out of the way. The door keeps opening because she keeps coming in. I shut it, she barges in. I shut it, she barges in. And while the intro music was playing, I had to say, either you're in or you're out. She dipped, I shut the door, and then while the intro music was playing, she barged in again. So what are you going to do?
There's not much you can do, I suppose. So, guys, we got a great show for you. Very excited to be coming to you live on a Sunday. Couple of one game currently underway with the Dolphins and the Jaguars playing over in London town right now. And that's an interesting matchup so far, shaking out a little bit closer than I had anticipated, but should be a fun one to see how this one finishes playing out. Some interesting inactives coming your way as well. So, Chris, what are some of your kind of opening thoughts here?
I love James Robinson. I just tweeted after he scored a touchdown. It was like a goal line touchdown, but who cares? I tweeted out just a couple simple words. I love James Robinson. It was 4 words, and all this guy does is produce for us. How many questions throughout the week or throughout the last few months? Is it James Robinson or this guy? James Robinson or that guy? It's always James Robinson. He is the quintessential set it and forget it kind of kid at running back. And I said that since last season. I continue to say it now, and he scores in London, and it's just proof James Robinson is a fantastic fantasy football running back.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, the only reason that you were to be down on him, I think, was the fact that they drafted ETN early, and that's no longer an issue. So, yeah, if you've got James Robinson, you're very happy, especially with the fact of how the draft played out, things like that for the actual NFL and how people were looking at that. You typically got him at a huge discount for your fantasy roster there as well. So absolutely fantastic. He can be yet again another league winner type of running back here. So yeah, it's always amazing to watch these guys, especially some of these undrafted guys with a lot of fight, a lot of hustle, a lot of spirit come up and really make some things happen for themselves. But let's go ahead and let's hop over into some of the slates of games here. I know that you've got one that you're dying to get to. That is your hometown team, the Lions, hosting Cincinnati. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, as soon as we're done with this broadcast, I'm splitting. I'm hitting the freeway, and I am going to the game. Now, when you look at this from a fantasy football perspective, the over-under, it opened at 48.5. It's dipped down 1.5. The over-under is now at 47. The Lions still getting about 3.5 points in this one. From a fantasy football perspective, Mixon, Chase, T, Boyd, all those guys are in play. Jared Goff, I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, but I do love the running backs, Swift and Jamal Williams. And in a way, I've had a lot of folks ask me, well, if you like why do you like DeAndre Swift? Well, because I think he's going to catch 7 or 8 passes in this one. Well, then why don't you like Jared Goff? Because he could take 1 or 2 of those to the house, and Jared Goff gets credit for that. Well, in this case, I'm willing to play DeAndre Swift in DFS formats as a one-off and call it a day here. And the rest of the Lions offense is nothing. It is what it is. TJ Hawkinson, $6,400 on FanDuel. TJ on DraftKings, $5,000. There's not too much, to go around here from a fantasy football perspective. But I will say, overall, this game, I have Cincinnati winning. I've never wavered from this week. I have Cincinnati winning comfortably. So personally speaking, I'm taking Cincinnati minus 3.5 by a mile. I put all my gold chips in on Cincinnati. I think they win by 20, 21 points in this one. So if you wanted to, you could even tease this. I actually leave it be. I was going to say tease it down, but for what's the point? Cincinnati covers cleanly by like 17 or 20 points in this one. And one more thing I will say, if you look at this game from a DFS perspective, in terms of ownership percentage, everybody in this game is literally under 5% owned. You name them, they're under 5% owned, except T. Higgins, 9.8% owned on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel, about 8% 5% owned here. Even Joe Mixon is low here. Mixon 5.7% owned on FanDuel, and on DraftKings 5.4%. So I love that. And then I also mentioned in bottom of the barrel, Chris Evans, local kid, played college football here at the University of Michigan. Samaje Perine on the COVID IR. Mixon, he wasn't 100% last week. He still did absolutely well. I'm still hearing a little, he's not 100% healthy, but no worries. Cincinnati will get this done with or without him. And who's to say the fourth quarter isn't all Chris Evans and a hometown kid? We're already up. Let's give him the rock. So as I said, Chris Evans is, let me find it here. Yeah, Chris Evans is cheap. I couldn't find it, so get Chris Evans in your line. $4,600 on FanDuel, and DraftKings Evans is $4,000. Gotta like the honesty. I couldn't find it quick enough, so.
Yeah, I mean that probably means he was way down there. So I like it. Yeah, Joe Mixon was a guy that I'm keeping an eye on in a lot of lineups when I was kind of going through and looking at it, because I think he'll have a good game. I think that he'll eat, and you'll see that Cincy run game absolutely blow up there. So I love that one. Let's go ahead and head over to my matchup. One of them that I was looking at, and that's the Minnesota Vikings going to the Carolina Panthers. Now, this is an interesting one when you look at how Vegas kind of sees this thing playing out, right? Like you see it as a 46 over under. The Vikings favored by 1.5 here in this one. So it kind of gives you the implied point total of right around 26 to 24 type of matchup here in favor of the Vikings as far as how Vegas kind of sees this thing. So I'm a little bit contrarian to that. I see the Panthers winning a game at home here. We saw Christian McCaffrey get put on the IR late yesterday, which I honestly think that they probably known that that's where that was trending towards. This wasn't a snap, last minute decision type of thing, at least not how I see this one. So the point where I do believe that you've seen it, where Carolina has been game planning longer for him to not play than necessarily to play, like we've seen in some of the previous weeks. So Carolina, that being the case, I think that they're going to shift some of the things here as far as how this game is going to play out. I think that your pass catchers for the Panthers, I love the play here. DJ Moore, I see him having a very big game. I see him probably around 11, 12 targets when this thing's all said and done, probably catching about 8 of those things, right around 90 yards and a touchdown. So I see him having a very good day, very big fantasy relevant type of day here. Robbie Anderson's a guy that I'm actually looking at pretty heavily here. But I see about six receptions, 9 targets type of thing, and I see him getting right around that 75 yards mark to it. It wouldn't surprise me if he falls into the end zone on one, but that's not how I have that projected right now. So one of those that I see him with touchdown upside on this one, giving you a pretty decent safe floor out there as well, which is something that we haven't necessarily seen. Something too that's a little contrarian to popular opinion out there, because a lot of folks were dropping him in leagues earlier this week as well. Chuba Hubbard, I see him having a decent game, right around about 80 yards on the ground there, a couple of through the air. So, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 to 100 all-purpose type of yards in this one. Dalvin's back. So I think you're going to see the Vikings shift to how they've done things a little bit here. Dalvin Cook will be featured. Will be going. Madison has been dinged up a little bit, so I don't know that he's going to be as much as a spell type of back that we've seen. And I think that you're going to see a really good game out of Justin Jefferson, an okay game for Adam Thielen. I am not actually very excited for some of the quarterbacks in this one. I think they'll have decent games, but not like league-winning, week-winning type of games here. Really not big impacts for the tight ends in this one, but I did want to get your thoughts on Tremble in this one for the tight end out of Carolina, and is he worth potentially DFS play?
Absolutely. Minnesota's 13th overall against opposing tight ends. Tommy, only $4,800 on FanDuel, and on DraftKings, he's only $2,600. Now, I've said it a lot, but on FanDuel, you're looking for that touchdown equity. I'm not sure Tommy has that kind of oomph in him this afternoon, but on DraftKings, it's a full point PPR, and you look at Travis Kelce's the most expensive tight end at $7,000, and look, Tommy Tremble only $2,600. I do want to say, after Carolina Carolina put Christian McCaffrey on the IR. I'm sure you've seen it too. I want to address all these folks that are saying it's not Christian McCaffrey's fault, or it is Christian McCaffrey's fault. Guy's made of glass. He can't stay healthy. He's injury prone. Everybody was pointing the finger at Carolina. You know, the GMs, the head coach, the brass for overworking this kid, and that's the reason why he broke down. Regardless of what you think or your opinion, because that's what social media is, it gives an opinion to everybody under the sun. Christian McCaffrey's on the IR for a couple games. We have to deal with it. And no offense to anybody that's, it was this, it was that. I know that's what this whole thing is about here, what we're doing. We're trying to interact. We're trying to give our opinion, hope that opinion gets picked up by a paper, or hoping our opinion gets 100,000 engagements here. But for the most part, just stop and settle in. Christian McCaffrey is exactly that. Is he the 101 next year? I don't know, but he's on the IR. We have to deal with the right here and right now. In terms of this football game, I'm with you. I absolutely love DJ Moore on FanDuel. DJ Moore only $7,600, and on DraftKings $7,300. And if you put those prices in perspective, Tyreek Hill is the most expensive wide receiver on FanDuel, $8,700. So you're getting DJ Moore at almost actually $1,100 cheaper there. And again, you mentioned Robbie Anderson. Really quick, I have DJ Moore, you're right, for about 10 to 12 targets. He'll catch 7 or 8 of those passes. You were spot on. I have the same exact projections, 85, 90 yards. We'll find the end zone here. Again, I firmly do believe that DJ Moore has gotten over that touchdown hump. That was his knock for these last few years. Guy would rack up 1,200, 1,300 yards, but he'd only score 4 or 5 touchdowns. That is null and void. DJ Moore is going to be a touchdown machine. In terms of Robbie Anderson, again, I'm with you. I have him for around 7 targets. We'll only catch about 4 of those, but I think he's a very safe bet for 60 yards even. Do I have him finding the end zone? No, but that's the thing. I say it every week. Touchdowns are a very volatile thing. And in terms of the Minnesota Vikings side of things, again, I have Dalvin Cook at around 20 total carries, which is nice. But again, that just relegates Alexander Mattison back to the bench. We've seen this the last few seasons. When Mattison is given the RB1 numbers, he produces more times than not. But then when Dalvin Cook comes back healthy, Alexander Mattison is the forgotten man. So the backup running back in Minnesota is the thankless job you can ever have. Dalvin Cook is the man. Dalvin Cook is the stud. In DFS circles for me, Cook, $8,800 on FanDuel, only $7,700 on DraftKings. And again, FanDuel, you're looking for touchdown equity. I just don't see it there for Cook this week. So again, I have Carolina winning this one about 24-21. So the over-under at 47. I'm going to go slightly under, but we're going to sweat it out. I think it's under by a point or two here, Derek.
Yeah, as far as I saw that one, I had Carolina 26, the Vikings 22 on this one. So I had just on the over. So this was one of those that I think they did a really, really good job kind of pinning this thing down there as far as point total on this one. An interesting side note there as well. You brought up Tyreek Hill there. And one of the things that I see him being a very volatile play this week where yeah, he's a little banged up coming to this game. I see him either going to uncork and explode for, 150 and 2 touchdowns type of deal, or they're going to do a little bit of he's active, he's playing, but he's getting some rest in this one. And they're going to feature a lot of other guys there, feature the Travis Kelce, feature some of these types of things. So it's one of those that he's a risky play to me this week.
Absolutely. And in bottom of the barrel, really quick, if I might add, Hill left last Sunday with some sort of knee thing. He came back, MRIs were good. But then again, Thursday, he left practice, did not finish practice with some sort of quad injury. He did practice Friday, no worries there. But I'm of the mindset of the trickle-down effect in Kansas City. For that reason, I'm all in on Mecole Hardman this afternoon. I think Hardman, at the end of week 6, we're talking about him in the same breath as a top 5 overall, performer in this week. Hardman only $5,500 on FanDuel, $4,200 on DraftKings. So I love all the Mecole Hardman. Fade Hill, give me Hardman.
I like it. Let's go ahead and hit up your next matchup. Who'd you have on matchup number 2?
Yeah, this game it's awesome. Everybody on earth is on this game. not. Houston at the Indianapolis Colts. The over-under in this one opened at, it looks in my notes, it says 43, and it stayed right at 43. Houston is getting 10 points in Indianapolis, and it makes sense here, but from a fantasy football standpoint, DFS withstanding here, there's not much to go around here, although Jonathan Taylor going to be a stud. Houston 18th overall against opposing running backs here. What are we going to do if you go down the list? I don't care about Zach Pascal, T.Y. Hilton, Paris Campbell. To me, this one here, you can put like a three-headed stack monster, Wentz, JT, and Michael Pittman. On the Houston side of things, to be fair with you, it's Sunday, just after 12 noon Eastern here. And again, I feel like I'm the only person on earth to have mentioned wanting to play Davis Mills, the Houston stud. Is he a stud quarterback? Rookie quarterback. Davis Mills, Indy's 20th overall against opposing quarterbacks. Mills, $6,700 on FanDuel, only $5,200 on DraftKings. You say, well, Chris, you're just going to one-off this nobody? Well, he did a little bit last week. Everything was good, but I'm telling you, I'm going to stack him with David Johnson. It's not the most popular thing here. And look, I'm talking from a GPP perspective, like 100,000 entry kind of pool here, and we'll see what we get. Crazier things have happened, and when you look at the Colts defense, they're not the pillar of health in their secondary. Granted, they have Darius Leonard, one of, if not the best linebackers in the game now, but he stays a little bit in. He stays in the box. He doesn't go too deep here. So I love the idea of Davis Mills swinging a couple passes out to David Johnson and David taking it to the house. Dare I say, I think that DJ finds the end zone not once, not twice on the strength of a Davis Mills pass. I know that's nuts, but I said it here, and you got to do something because, again, in DFS, in the social media age, everybody has an opinion, as I said, and everybody's writing and broadcasting the same content. So getting an edge on your DFS opponents is almost nil. So I'm not trying to be outlandish and crazy just to do it. I really do see something in Mills and David Johnson this afternoon. So that's the way I'm leaning in terms of the overall game. I do have the Colts winning about 27-24, so there's plenty of points to go around. So for that fact, I also love Houston plus the 10. I think it's close, within 3 to 4 points here, and Houston's getting 10. So Indy to win, Houston to cover, Davis Mills, David Johnson in DFS circles. Love it.
I like it. I like it a lot. Let's go ahead and head on over to New England, where the Cowboys are coming to town. So Dallas traveling to New England. Right now the implied point total, you got the over under 50.5 points on this one. Dallas is favored by 3.5 as road favorites on this one. So I'm going to see this one, like this is one of those when I really started looking at this, I see Dallas winning it about 28-22 when it's all said and done. So I see a Dallas cover, but the under coming in, which is kind of a unique thing when you think about how most of these Cowboy games are going to go. Now this one was intriguing to me because of the fact that Bill Belichick, when he schemes for the defensive side of the ball, he's going to look to try and take away one piece of an offense, right? Like he's going to try and make them one-dimensional and make that go, right? So when that comes to it, which side of the ball are you going to try and take down, make Dallas move the ball through, right? Are they going to try and make him run it through the ground, try and make it pass? I think the Patriots are going to lean to try and take away the run and make Dak Prescott beat them through the air. Because of the fact that makes that a little bit more volatile game for it, allows for the defense to step up and potentially make more plays on that one. So when it's all said and done, I'm not as high on Zeke and Pollard as I have been in weeks past on this one. Now, I think both of them will still have good games. Both of them are still worth, if you've got Zeke, you're going to start him in season long. If you've got Pollard, he's worth a flex play still because he's shown what kind of things that he can do. But I'm looking for bigger games out of CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and Alton Schultz on this one. I think all of those guys can have very big games. Damian Harris is a guy that I am fading quite heavily here on this one. From the standpoint, A, he doesn't look to be overly healthy. B, we just haven't really seen that pop and seen him control this backfield. And I think the Patriots are looking to potentially move along on this one. So that's not going to surprise me there. But Kendrick Bourne is a guy that I'm actually really liking as kind of a sneaky play. If you need some upside, you need some guy that, is available that you're going to, I see him having some big playability here. So that's one of those that I think this one is going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be that Dallas wins it, Dallas covers, the under comes in, and you're going to see a different type of Cowboys offense on the field than what we've seen over the last 4 weeks type of thing.
I'm with you 100%, in terms of Dallas winning and Dallas covering, and that's what scares me. Everybody on earth is on Dallas. So does that mean, you know what I mean? So you got to take that kind of information and spin it to your advantage. So from a DFS perspective, if everybody and their mother is on the Dallas side of things, they're going to cover, I have Dallas putting up like 31 points. If that's going to happen, where does that leave us with New England? Well, to me personally, DFS, I keep saying it, DFS and an edge. Where's the edge to be gained here? So given all that Dallas love, I think there's a little bit of a spot here for the New England running backs, not named Damian Harris. Ramondre Stevenson, the rookie back, mentioned in bottom of the barrel. Stevenson, $5,100 on FanDuel, only $4,500 on DraftKings, and even Brandon Bolden, $5,200 on FanDuel, and on DraftKings, Bolden is $4,700. Now, if you look at this is what I noticed. It's pretty fantastic. So Dallas, they've been fantastic against running backs. They're 7th overall against opposing running backs. But what if those running backs catch passes and kind of turn into a wide receiver? Well, Dallas is 27th overall against opposing wide receivers. So that's the edge there. That's the little thing that we can pluck from this. So I love the idea of both Stevenson and Bolden. Would I play both of them in a fantasy football lineup week 6? Absolutely not. Would I play both of them in some sort of big multi-entry GPP? Absolutely. That's the edge to be gained here. Again, I'm with you. I have Dallas winning about 31-21. I think that, 10 points is comfortable in the NFL here. So again, you'd have to take Dallas -3. Absolutely. And this game opened, looking at my notes, 48.5. It's now at 50.5. That's the 2 points that I needed. I love the under in this one, but barely, and give me Dallas -3 with a little bit of drips and drabs of the New England Patriots running backs.
I like it. Before we get to our last game, we got one question coming in. Start one, Julio, Odell, Kadarius Toney. I'm going to go Kadarius Toney on this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. And who knows? We don't know how the coverage is going to be. It'd be very easy. I mean, it's very elementary if the Rams and Jalen Ramsey shut down Toney completely. But that was the thought heading into this game before we knew that Slayton is playing, Shepard is playing, Booker is there to catch passes. So I don't think the Rams and McVay are going to kind of shut out one player. And if they do, it wouldn't be Toney. Young kid. Let's see if he can back it up back-to-back weeks.
Right. I think that you'll probably see Jalen Ramsey shadow Sterling Shepard a little bit more so in that one. I think you'll see him get some good play out of that one. Let's hit up our last game here. We got the Las Vegas Raiders coming to the Denver Broncos. What are your thoughts here?
This game it's interesting to me from just an overall football presentation and overall life situation. We know the Vegas Raiders, their head coach is no more. Some nasty emails came out. I don't even want to touch on that. That's a topic for another day. One that I don't feel like battling right now on early Sunday afternoon here. But to me, there's the storylines is what makes this game here. Are the Vegas Raiders going to be flat, demoralized, bummed out, or are they going to be energized and ready to go? And we're going to show everybody that we didn't need that guy. We're going to be okay without him. What happens in Denver today? And to me, I think it's the latter. I think Vegas is going to show up and show out and really not take it to Denver, but I think this game is going to be a lot closer than most people think. It opened at 44.5 in terms of the over-under, and as I'm finding it here, it's now at 44, so it dropped down a half a point. Vegas is getting 4 points. Personally speaking, Derek, no offense to you and your Denver Broncos here, I think the Vegas Raiders win outright. So you're telling me I can get 4 points for a team I think win outright anyways. Final score, about, looking at my notes, I would say I lost it about 24-21 here. So Vegas Raiders. So give me the 4 points. So either way you slice it, you're good to go. From a player perspective here, not too much juiciness I like. As I said, I have just over 40 total points scored. I just don't know where they're going to come from. I can't get a pulse on this game. Obviously, Derek Carr, $7,000 on FanDuel. Teddy Bridgewater, $6,600 on FanDuel. And then what do we do with the Denver running backs? Both guys, Javonte, Melvin Gordon III. They're probably going to split it literally right down the middle. Both 12 to 13 carries apiece. In terms of Darren Waller, absolutely. But one thing I like, I locked this in very early in the week here. I love Noah Fant anytime touchdown. And to be fair, you can play that separately, and then you can play Tyler Higbee anytime touchdown separately, and then you parlay them together. They can come together, shake hands, you win some money. Font anytime touchdown parlayed with Tyler Higbee in playing in New York today, anytime touchdown. That's what I'm thinking. How about you, Derek?
So you and I saw this one, same point total. Just the teams reversed. I had Denver winning this one 24-21 on this one. I do think you're right. I think the Vegas Raiders are going to come out emotionally charged. And if they can, come out and punch Denver in the mouth early in this one, they're going to keep this thing close. And I think that's how this game's going to come and play out. And this one, heated in division rivalry. These two teams go way back and don't like each other from way back. So it's a very interesting matchup there. I don't like the Las Vegas Raiders running backs in this one. And you've seen that play out in a losing effort. You typically see Josh Jacobs not put up a good game. I see them losing by a field goal here. So he'll still get in the mix. He'll still see some things there, but I'm not a big fan. I do absolutely love the Noah Fant matchup. I think he's going to be fantastic here. One that I'm very interested to see is Henry Ruggs potentially get behind the Denver defense in a long connection on that one. We've seen Denver give up a couple of these long touchdowns consecutive weeks here. And so he's in play for a long touchdown type of thing, right? I called the Jamar Chase 40, 50-yard touchdown last week when we were doing this one. I see a similar type of ability here for Henry Ruggs to break 40, 50-yard up and over the top type of touchdown on this one. So I think he could be a sneaky play in a lot of formats there. You get the yardage bonus in a lot of places. You get the touchdown bonus in a lot of places. So I do like that one. And I think Javonte Williams is the Denver running back here. Looking at him, he's got a lot of juice. He's got a lot of pop. And I think that they're going to continue that one there. So I think the breakout continues for Javonte. And you start seeing this point in time, you start seeing him potentially start chipping away at that and start getting more and more lead back kind of going through to finish out the season on this one, where I think this is the game where instead of it being a 50-50 split, they start going through and he starts gaining point shares as far as that coverage goes. Any further thoughts on this one?
No, really quick, off the beaten path here in terms of some betting stuff. In DFS, I love the idea of the Dallas Cowboys DST. And again, kick me off the broadcast, kick me out of Twitter. I don't care. But I absolutely love, I already have money on it, the Washington football team money line. There's a situation there where I've talked about both teams, more importantly, the Washington football team from a DFS perspective. The Kansas City and Washington, their defenses are, more importantly, Kansas City, their defense is not good. So there's going to be some weird chances and weird plays in this one. And to be fair, I love the Washington football team money line. And if you shop that around, whatever book you go to, I've seen it as high as plus 250. So look for the Washington football team money line to win this game outright. And they're getting points here. Just wanted to get that little nugget in before we split.
I like it. Hey guys, I do think that that's going to bring us to the end here. Chris, any final thoughts for the viewers and listeners out there?
No, thanks for having me on. It's Sunday. We're getting into the meat of the season, right? Week 6 is upon us. This is what, separate the men from the boys, and we go from there. And I do want to tell folks, if you're producing content, writing, broadcasting, or if your regular everyday life at home, at work, you take a couple chances, take a little risk, the whole risk reward thing. And again, nothing grows in comfort. I learned that the hard way for many years now. So get up off your butt and put some things into action. Again, once you get out of your comfort zone, that's when the breakthrough will happen. You take some risks, and on the other side of it, it's all glorious. Please trust me on that one. I learned a lot of lessons the hard way, and that's what I wanted to share the most here. Nothing grows in comfort. Let's get together and take some risk. That's where the growth happens.
I like it. Real quick, we're going to sign out here, but before we go, Cash on YouTube, Knox or Schultz this week? Who you got?
I'm going to go a Knoxy in this one just because that Buffalo Bills team is outstanding. And again, in Dallas, we like to think we know how the targets and touches are going to be handed out. But again, we've only seen 5 weeks here. And I'm not saying Dallas has been all over the place, but we know what to expect from Buffalo at this stage of the game, if that makes sense. So give me Dawson Knox here. In DFS circles, he's just below Knox, Schultz in terms of price. So I like Knox in any and all formats.
I like it too. Tennessee's secondary's bad, and I think that you'll see Dawson Knox get a lot of run. So I do like Knox over Schultz. But guys, that's going to bring us to the end of this. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Derek. He's Chris at Detroit BC on Twitter with Team Riser. Follow as well as where you can find his work. Any other places for them to check you out?
That's it on Twitter at Detroit Beastie. I do some bet stuff at Woodward Sports, but the meat of my DFS content at Team Riser Falls. Shout out to them.
I like it. And I'm Derek with the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. You can check us out. Please head over to the YouTube channel, Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast YouTube channel, and subscribe there. Guys, have a great one. And any questions, you can hit us up on the Twitters. Have a great one, y'all. Be safe.